When we think about business coaching, we often think that business coaching is for a business owner. And yes, it is, but it is also for your team. Today, Coach Mel McKibbin shares that to build a profitable enterprise that can work without you, you're going to need to build a winning team. She talks about a strategy called the 6 keys to a winning team. Mel McKibbin, business coach, thank you so much for joining.
It is my pleasure.
Mel, tell me why you became a business coach.
Oh, that is a really, really, really good question. Why did I become a business coach? I kind of fell into it, if I'm honest. I kind of grew up in the corporate world and always wanted to be a business owner. And when we had the opportunity, our local gym came on the market, and we did our due diligence and bought it. And it was part of a franchise. And when we decided to buy that business, my plan was always to be the business owner. I am not a PT. That is just not me. Did enjoy coaching the women from the coaching point of view, which is interesting that I'm a business coach now. But I kind of had my team to do that, and I got really involved we had a New South Wales ACT co-op for the franchise group that I was a part of, and I became the president of that. And I realized really quickly how many women there were in our business, in our franchise, that were really good at working as coaches and with the health and fitness, but didn't have a lot of business acumen. And with my background, and I had a bit of a learning and development background, I kind of organically started coaching them. And then on a bit of a more personal note, in 2017, I was diagnosed with melanoma. So 38-year-old woman, a wife, a mother, a business owner. I had 5 or 6 staff on the books at the time. We had over 200 members that all relied on me or my business to open up for their health and their well-being. And I was actually in a situation that I could physically and mentally step out the day that I had my diagnosis and focus 100% on doing what I needed to do to fight that fight. And so many people don't have that, or they are stuck in their business. And so it just seemed natural for me to go into being a business coach and help people to have a business that can run without them. So yeah, it's
that must have come naturally for you, or was that very intentional that you wanted to build a business like that? I mean, you mentioned you didn't want to be on the tools, so to speak, as a PT. So you were quite intentional about that. You wanted to be the business owner and set yourself up with a team.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Talk to me about, because you get to speak to hundreds of different business owners that are really stuck in their business. What are what are some of the things that you see business owners, why are they stuck working in their business, and what's different to how you had set yourself up in yours?
I think that so there's the 3 ways that people learn: auditory, visually, and kinesthetically. And I'm a real kinesthetic learner, and that's how I learn. I was never an A. In fact, I was lucky to be a C grade student at school. I don't learn the way they teach at school, but when I was given the opportunity to get into the workforce at the age of 14, I loved it, and I just wanted to learn more. And so I was really lucky that I worked my way up through the corporate world and really got to see what business actually is, because strip away our products and our services, the business is the same no matter what our product or service is that we're offering. It's still the same principles. It's still the same challenges. It's still the same everything. We need to know our numbers. We need to have structure and team and systems and processes and all of that kind of stuff is all the same. It doesn't really matter
what industry,
what business you're in, which is why I guess purchasing the gym that we did kind of made sense. It also gave me, I had our daughters, we have twins. I think they were about 3, no, not quite 3 when we bought that business. And the plan was to give me the opportunity to be a mother, because the corporate job that I was in, whilst I loved it, and I worked with the biggest airline, my client was the biggest airline in Australia, and I totally loved that. I wanted to be a mum. I wanted to be home. I didn't want to be traveling. I wanted to be able to go to the school functions and all of that kind of stuff. And so for me, the way I could see that was my business could be the vehicle that could support us financially, but also give me the opportunity to be the mum as well as a business owner. Because, hey, us women can do anything, can't we?
Amazing. Yes. Mel, you mentioned VAC, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and I'm kinesthetic too, so I relate to that. For people listening that don't understand the VAC learning style, and you come from a learning and development background, share with me different learning styles that people have.
So when we look at VAC, and I often will position this in all of my workshops, because you always hear about death by PowerPoint. But I'm a real one to have that PowerPoint happening behind me when I'm presenting, because some people need to actually visually see and read to take in and absorb that information. I speak, obviously, because that's what I do. Other people take it in auditory. I guess it's even the way the world is now, with having audiobooks as well as books, because you're kind of feeding to both of those, visual and auditory. And then your kinesthetic is a real getting your hands dirty, getting in, touching, feeling and doing. So in my workshops, I really get people involved. I make it very interactional so that everybody is covered.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I know that audio books now are so popular, but I find, it's probably time-wise, listening to an audio book is best done in the car when I'm driving if I want to utilize my time well. But it just doesn't compute. Like, I'm hitting rewind 30 seconds, often 4 or 5 times, because I'm just not taking that in. So I still get the most out of a physical book or digital version of a book. It's just so interesting, the different styles. So tell me, when it comes to teams for business owners, understanding the different learning style that your team have, why is that so important?
At the end of the day, we're all human and we're all different. So we use disc profiling with all of our clients to really dig deep into, even to the extent of what actually motivates our team, because we are different. We all learn different. We all behave differently. With your disc, you've got your D for your dominance, that are kind of that shark. You have your I, which is totally slips my mind right now, and I am one.
Relational.
What was that? Sorry?
Relational. People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People. Yeah, absolutely. So that's more your kind of dolphin person. You've got your S for steady, which is your whale, I guess you could say, the slow and steady. And we have our compliance, that are really into the intricacies of, needing to know the ins and outs of everything. Now, if I use myself as an example, I have hardly any I in me, but I am extremely...
I'm surprised to hear that.
I'm sorry, hardly any C in me. I'm sorry, hardly any C. I am full I, like next level I.
Okay.
So in my disc profile, I have a lot of I and not a lot of C, which is compliance. So I can run off and move forward with a lot of things, but don't have a real lot of attention to detail. So for me, it's really important that my team members have that quality in them, because that's what's lacking personally for me in my business. Because you're not going to want to put someone who is very high C or very high compliant out the front, in front of everyone running the workshop. They need to be the person behind the scenes that are making sure that everyone's booked and everything's in order and the agenda's ready to go and all of that kind of stuff. So it's adapting that to different businesses as well, having the right people.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, great. So Mel, from all the business owners that you get to talk to, Is there a common theme that you find that most businesses are currently having a challenge with?
Excellent question. Time, team, and money are always the top three. They're either having challenges in one, two, or all three of those areas. What I find really interesting, though, from my experience, is often they will come thinking that they are having a lot of challenges in one area, but as we dig into it, it's actually the underlying of another or a combination of them. So if I'm honest, I wouldn't say that there's one in particular that stands out. I just find it really interesting that it can actually, once a business owner opens up and opens the book of their business to the eyes of someone else, a business coach who gets to sit on the outside and look in and not have that emotional connection, we can actually dig and see, you know what, the gaping holes are in fact here.
Yeah,
and we need to work on that.
Incredible. So have you got give me a client story, an example of a client that you've worked with, and what was the challenge that they had when you first started working with them?
So I like to consider myself a business performance coach. So I'm really, really interested and I love working with those high performers, those business owners that really want to grow their business. They want to be successful. They have big dreams and understanding of the destination. I've got a client I'm working with at the moment who actually he's just had a bit of a break and he started back today, which is quite ironic that we talk about him today. Last year he came to me. They move freight for the entertainment industry, and he started from scratch and had a small team of about 6, that kind of grew to 6. And he came to me and said, we've had a lot of growth. We've had a lot of quick growth, and a lot of that has to do with the world closing down for two years, and then the entertainment industry has taken off. And he is very aware that he needed the systems and the processes and the right and I'm not even going to say the right people, but he knew that his team needed to step up. So I came in and coached predominantly his team, built his general manager up to be doing the right things, who is amazing at implementing systems, looking at how do we streamline the business. Now, the business has had an increase of, I think we went from I think they have increased by about $8 million. So almost doubled. In fact, no, they've more than doubled.
In what time period?
That was in a 12-month period.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's really cool.
Congratulations.
It's really cool. Thank you. So what's really cool now is when we first spoke, we were talking about the direction of the business and what's happening with the business and what does he want it to look like, because it's really important that we all as business owners, myself included, because I'm a business owner too, have a really clear understanding and picture of what the destination is for our business. What are we actually working towards? And he mentioned to me, it'd be really cool to have an office in LA and London. And I was like, well, why can't you do that? And he also mentioned, it'd be really cool to be, and he mentioned one of his competitors, but I'm not them. And it's like, well, why can't you? It was that simple conversation and questioning from me that he's now returned, started today, and we are now working towards a 5-year plan of hitting over $50 million. And he knows that he needs to have that accountability and that person helping and guiding him to get to that. And I'm so excited because they're so going to do it.
Wow. That's unreal. So when he first came to you for, did he come to you because he wanted to scale? Like, was that the first time you met?
Yeah, look, I think he absolutely wanted to scale. I think his challenge was probably more around, whoa, we're scaling really quickly and I've got one chance of doing this right.
So he really needed help with systems. He wanted to make sure he had that structure set up right for that next level of scale. Okay, great. And then so working with you pretty quickly, you were able to sort of stretch his mindset in terms of what was possible. and, you know, these big dreams, get really clear on what they were and then the pathway to achieve that. So what was what was the coaching session like that you had with him? So your usual coaching session that he would show up for, what was some of the things that you would work through?
Look, if I'm completely honest with you, most of the coaching with him was with his team, was getting them up to scratch with the system. A really good something that he has achieved, a really good achievement for him, has been when he first spoke with me, he was still pretty much everything was going through him. The fleet manager was going through him. The domestic person, the international person, the truck person, the whoever it was in the team was all coming through him. Even clients, he was still doing the work. And we actually have stripped that back completely. That his challenge now is like, I feel like I have no structure and I don't know, am I doing the right thing? What should I be doing? And so we've given him all this time back. And now he's a bit, so now we're working through him doing a time log to really see where he's using his time. And we'll set him up with a default diary so that there's structure there for him.
Yeah, amazing. That's incredible. And he needs to evolve into the next version, really, of who he needs to be.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's really exciting, even just to see the change from 12 months ago.
Yeah, that's very cool. Look forward to hearing the next version of the story.
Well, I can tell you a little secret that he will be expanding overseas within the next 6 to 12 months.
That's unreal. Yeah. Very exciting. Where's he going first?
To the US market.
Okay, great. Well, we happen to know a few people over there, so
we do.
We can make some connections.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate you sharing that story. Is there any other clients that you can think of that you'd love to share? Any successes that you've had?
Where to start? There's so many. There's so many amazing
you talk about team, right? Like you must enjoy working with team. And I think sometimes when it comes to business coaching, it's not necessarily just about, you know, the business owner. It's often also about the next level for the team to evolve to support the business growth as well. So yeah, when you start working with a business and you are looking at the team, is there anything that you could share or offer for business owners to look for?
Look for in hiring team or the team that they have?
The team they have, like, you know, what do they need to do with the team they have if they're not doing, or they're a business owner is looking to scale to the next level. They've got a team in place. And they come to Mel because they want some help with the team. What's the first thing you do?
Look, if I'm honest, a lot of businesses out there don't have an organisational chart and don't have clear job descriptions for their team. And so often they're running around doing everything, everyone doing everything, that there's no structure to it. There's another client that I'm working with, which is quite a large client that has multiple locations. They have multiple levels of management and almost zero structure. So I've been working with them at identifying who's responsible for what, whose role does what is the job description. Delegation is a huge one, right up from the start, from the owner through to ops managers to, you know, location managers, reservation center. A lot of accountability as well needs to come with that. So they get accountability from their coach, but how are they getting accountability from their team? And so we're seeing huge growth in that business. And one of the byproducts is that their productivity has increased so much, which ultimately means that we can reduce on wages, on overtime, on making sure serving more clients, spending more time on the things that will make us money in our business instead of running around. And so ultimately that impacts the bottom line of any business.
So you mentioned accountability. I think I'd love to get you to dive into that a little bit more for team. You know, do business owners find it a challenge to often hold their team accountable for the things that they should be doing? That's one. But then you mentioned team holding each other accountable. Talk to me about that.
Yep. So I was probably, well, it's all about, we had the 6 keys to a winning team. And one of those, well, we've got strong leadership, which it can come from multiple levels of leadership throughout a business, depending on the size of it. Understanding the common goal. So I think what's really important is we can work top level as business owners and leaders in what our goal is, but how are we going to get everybody on board to be getting to where we want to get and to achieving those goals if we're not sharing it with our team? So once we can share it, the team can have goals, that have KPIs to strive for, that they work together, and the accountability just naturally comes. To finish the six rules, 6 keys of a winning team, we have the rules of the game. So what are the rules? How the culture of the business, having an action plan to actually do that. So again, accountability comes in line with any plan that we have in place. As business owners and leaders, we need to support risk. So we need to empower our team to be, well, firstly, they need to be well trained and well educated so that they can be empowered to make those right decisions and you know, be in a position that we can support risk. And then having 100% involvement and inclusion is really, really, really important. So the 6 keys to a winning team that ActionCOACH works every day around the world with business owners on, 100% improves accountability with any team.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So, I mean, a lot of business owners wouldn't necessarily think of putting a structure in place around team. They think systems is about processes, SOPs, not so much about the team as well. So the 6 keys to a winning team, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Great. Okay, we're going to jump into our three quick fire questions. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, number one, Mel. What's your favorite business book?
Oh, my favorite business book is probably, it's a book that I get a lot of people to start on, and it's probably one that you wouldn't think straight away is a business book, but it's The Barefoot Investor. Because I think we need to get our own finances and understanding of our own numbers right to be able to move on and do the same thing in our business. I love that. I've read it about 10 times.
Okay. Love that. Number two, who's been, and you're allowed 2 answers for this because I know what one of them's going to be. Who's been the best mentor or coach for you?
Well, it's probably with you doing this podcast, I think this person's name might come up a bit. That would be Bruce Wilson, the amazing Bruce Wilson over in New Zealand, Nelson, New Zealand, which is quite interesting that our twin daughter's godfather actually lives in the same town as Bruce. But yeah, Bruce, I started coaching with when I was a brand new coach, and I came on during I joined ActionCOACH. So I had kind of been doing my own thing on the side, but joined ActionCOACH, which is a whole other story on its own. But I came on during COVID. We went into another lockdown. I was diagnosed with melanoma for a second time and had a lot of challenges, mindset. And Bruce has been great as a business coach, but also he's been my mindset coach. I've been doing a quality mind program with him for over 3 years with a group of coaches in the US. Which has been amazing as well. And, how much I have grown as a person, as a business owner, as a coach is I can't even put into words. He's amazing.
That's awesome. Yes, he is.
And then if I was to pick a second one, I don't know that he's not a coach, and I almost wouldn't say he's a mentor either, but he's been very instrumental in my career, and that would be a gentleman who gave me my first job when I was 14 years old
I thought you were going to say
one of the top 4 car rental companies
I thought you
in
were going to say your
Australia,
husband,
in
Adam.
Sydney, as an office junior. My cousin used to work there, and he backed me as a 14-year-old and gave me a job. And then when I came to him and said, I've got this opportunity to leave school at the end of year 10, and I can go to secretarial college it was back then. Best thing I learnt there was how to touch type, I must say. It was Monday to Friday. At the end of it, will you give me a full-time job? And he said, yes, absolutely. So I decided to leave school, did the secretarial college Monday to Friday. I worked Saturday and Sunday for the car rental company and then walked into a full-time job. He then got me a job into another of the car rental companies who I had a career with for over 17 years. But what's ironic is I'm now coaching his team.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Very
it's really
cool.
good. Yeah.
And number 3, Mel, what's the best piece of business advice you ever received?
Best piece of business advice. There's so many, but the one thing, and I use this all the time with my clients, is progress, not perfection. We need to keep moving forward.
Progress, not perfection. Yes, I love that, because perfection often can, stop you, prevent you from taking steps. Yeah, great. I love it. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate your time with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Michelle Adams, your host here. Hats off to you for committing to your learning by listening to this podcast. And if you'd like some help implementing some of these strategies, then click the link in the description to find your local action coach. They can help you put these strategies into action and take your business and your life to the next level. In the meantime, like and subscribe so that you're the first to get our next episode. We'll see you soon.